Cognitive reappraisal, which means learning how to reframe things, is a skill which is not only going to help you tremendously in how you communicate with other people, whether that be in a business situation, in your relationships, or on a friendship level, but it's going to completely change the way that you communicate with yourself. And so this is a skill which very few people are even aware of. If you learn it, if you master it, it's going to give you a massive advantage in life. I'm going to be helping you learn this skill step by step in this video, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So without much further ado, let's go. What is happening? It's Tobias, bringing you the most powerful concepts to help you upgrade your mindset so you can go further faster in life. In these videos, I package these concepts into easily digestible formats, so no matter who you are, where you are, or how busy you are, you can get the value. If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and also click the little bell symbol next to it. That way you get notified whenever I'm dropping new, hopefully valuable content, and therefore you're never missing out. That being said, let's jump into the video. The first thing to understand when learning how to reframe things is you first need to understand what a frame actually is. So I want you to imagine that you're taking a picture with your iPhone of some plants, let's say. And as you look through the screen and you see the plants on the other side, what you're actually seeing on the screen is through a frame. Okay, now the frame is determined by things like where you're standing, what angle you're standing at, the different filters which might be on your phone, whether you're zoomed in or not, and these things determine what frame you're looking through and ultimately determine what you see and experience on the other side of the phone. Now, another thing to understand is that these frames are not just in your iPhone. These frames are everywhere. They're all around you because you experience reality not as it is, but through a frame. Let me repeat that again. Write this down because this is absolutely key. You do not experience reality as it is. You experience it through a frame. Okay? And these frames are made up of, well, at the most basic level, our senses. That's how we experience the world. But then going deeper than that, our frames are actually made up of things like our social conditioning, how we were brought up by our parents, what environment we were around, and these things dictate what kind of beliefs we take on. One thing too, by the way, is we tend to think that these frames are fixed. As human beings, we like to think that our experience of reality is the only experience of reality, and this of course isn't true. The reality is, frames are not fixed, and in actual fact, they're actually extremely malleable. Okay, so as an example, let's say that you've heard that there's a new restaurant in town. And so you get dressed, you leave the house and you start walking towards the restaurant. And then someone stops you in the street and they ask you, are you going to the restaurant? And you go, yeah, I am. And they say, don't bother. Restaurant is terrible. I've just come from there and the food, it took so long to come. The place is dirty, it's messy. And you want to know the worst thing? The food is disgusting. It's tasteless. Don't go there. And then just walks off. And then you're kind of just left there standing there going, okay, what do I do now? In the end, you decide to go to the restaurant. And then as you walk in, straight away, you're zooming in on all the things that the person mentioned. You're thinking, okay, is it messy? Is it dirty? And then as you sit down, you're thinking, okay, the food is taking quite long to come. And then when the food does eventually come, you taste it and you go, I guess it is a little tasteless. You know what? That person was right. This restaurant, not a fan. So what's happened there is that person has shared their opinion, their experience, and that has set the frame through which you have experienced the restaurant. Now, same example, if someone stops you in the street and instead they say, oh, are you going to the restaurant? And you say, yeah, I am. And they go, oh my God, go, it's amazing. When you go inside, the place is spotless, it's so clean, so tidy. On top of that, the food comes really quick. Oh yeah, and you want to know the best thing? The food. The food is delicious, man. The flavors, when I tasted it, just erupted in my mouth. Honestly, go now, because I want you to experience this. Well, in this situation, they've given you a positive frame. And so now when you go into the restaurant, your whole experience is going to be colored by this. And so you're very likely to actually have a positive experience. So different experiences determined by different frames. Okay, and again, these frames are everywhere, and the most powerful skill that you can learn is number one, firstly becoming aware of these different frames, because most people are not even aware that these frames exist. And then the second thing is actually learning how to tweak these frames to your benefit. So let's crack into some examples. So at the moment, what with the corona crisis going on, you're probably at home, not going to work, and you might be thinking, this is horrible. I'm not able to go to work, see my co-workers, I can't see my friends, family members, my whole lifestyle's been disrupted, I can't go to the gym, and I'm not keeping up with my fitness regime, let's say. You might also be thinking, there's a recession around the corner. I don't know how this is going to impact me, my friends, my family. There's a lot of uncertainty at the moment, a lot of questions unanswered, and it's giving me a sense of unease and anxiety. You might be feeling this way. Well, if this is you, you're looking at this whole coronavirus situation through a frame. Now, you can look at the whole situation in a different light, however. And so you might actually choose to look at it in this way. You might say, yep, the situation isn't ideal, but the fact that I'm not going to work means I've got a lot of extra time on my hands. And usually when I'm going to work, I have a tendency to get caught up in the rat race. I have a tendency to go from paycheck to paycheck without actually taking some time to actually do some activities which I enjoy. This period is actually good for me because now with this extra time, I can read some more books. I can learn a few new skills and actually develop myself so that when I actually go back to my job, I'm in a better position to perhaps get a job promotion. I'm actually coming out stronger from this thing than I actually was going into it. And so what you've done there is you've taken the same facts, coronavirus situation, not ideal, but you've twisted it and repackaged it in a way in which it's beneficial to you. So let's take another example. So with coronavirus going on, you might be thinking, this is horrible. There's so many people dying. The elderly, the immunocompromised, they're at high risk of fatality if they get infected by the virus. There's absolutely no way that with a malicious virus like this, that any benefits or positives can come from the situation. Okay, that's one way of looking at things. Now, a different frame might be, yeah, it is bad that people are getting infected with the virus and people are dying. That's really unfortunate. But the virus could be a lot more malicious. And actually, it could be the case that everyone would be at high risk of fatality. Thank God that's not the case. And with everything that's going on at the moment, well, maybe in future there's a virus which turns out to be even more malicious than coronavirus. And what we're having to go through right now is good preparation for what we would have to deal with if the virus was more malicious and we had to take more extreme precautions. So again, it's taking the same facts but repackaging it in a way which is beneficial to you. So as a more general example, whenever you're facing adversity, the most common response is to go, why is this happening to me? This is horrible. I'm a victim. Why is this happening to me? And of course, this is a horrible frame to be experiencing adversity through. And instead, you want to ask yourself, not why is this happening to me? What is this teaching me? What lessons can I learn out of this situation? What value can be extracted from this experience that's actually going to help me moving forward? And this applies to all the little ways in which you talk to yourself too. That little voice in your head which sometimes goes, I'm not really happy at the moment. I don't really have enough money. I don't have enough money to do the things that I want to do, to go on holiday, to buy some nice clothes. This situation that I'm in, I don't like it. It's horrible. It's like, no, in that situation, you might not have a lot of money, but instead, you might want to look at it like, yeah, I'm going through some challenges right now. I don't have a lot of money, but this is going to make an excellent story. These are my humble beginnings, because later on in life, when I would have made it, at least I'm going to be a lot more appreciative of what I have. And actually, I'm going to be inspirational for other people. I'm going to motivate them to actually take action. And I'm going to be a role model for others. That's one way of looking at it. Or another way of looking at it might be, okay, I'm having a down period right now, but at least it adds contrast to my life. Because without the ups and downs of life, everything would be flat. And if everything was flat, it would be boring and I would just be in the emotional state of apathy. So again, taking the same facts, but repackaging them in a way which is beneficial to you. And again, this is a skill which needs to be practiced, it needs to be learned. So any time that someone says something to you, or any time you say something to yourself, take it and reframe it. This is a really powerful strategy for reducing stress and anxiety. There's a lot of research around this topic. I'll put a link in the description below to some papers if you want to read into this in a little bit more depth. But ultimately, if you get this down, if you learn this skill, it's going to give you a massive advantage in life and it's going to really help you achieve your goals. So to wrap up, learn the different frames, understand them, learn how to tweak them. And again, this really is a secret superpower. And if you learn it, it's going to give you so much benefit. So start putting it to good use as of today. Start becoming aware of the different frames and start asking yourself, how can I tweak the situation to benefit me if needed? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and also a little bell symbol so that you stay notified when I drop in new, hopefully valuable content. And I will be back with more soon. Peace.